This week on Channel 8, we'll take a look at a local bar, a declaration from the Nottoway County Commission, and more. Your Channel 8 news starts right now. Thank you for tuning in to Channel 8 News. I'm Courtney Rowe. New owners have taken control of a local bar formerly known as Molly's and turned it into Shooters. Brooke Ingram has more.
I had the opportunity to sit down with Royce Clement, the owner of the new bar Shooters, right here in downtown Maryville.
We found out, like I say, by word of mouth, and finally got together with Mick, and his first buyer kind of backed out. So we said we'd definitely be interested in it, and that's where it started, and that's where it came from. As far as changing the name, we knew right off the start we was going to change the name. You know, have our own heritage left. My wife and I have always wanted to own a bar. We both love country music. We've always been within the bar scene and dancing, and I've taught dance. I mean, all these things, you know, the rest of it is just cream on the top of the cake. It's just, well, it's been so long that country's been available here in Maryville. It's been about 40 years ago, because when I was 20, I was coming here. And it was a great country bar at that time.
I also had the opportunity to sit down with a Northwest student and hear her thoughts on her first experience at the new country bar.
At the walkout stage part, so it's a bigger dance floor. And then the two cages are gone. That's about the main differences I saw when I was there. Yeah, I definitely think they'll find it fun to go to. I think it's gonna be something different to bring here because the other bars are more basic, but this is a little bit different. I think it'll bring different crowds into the bars.
It was nice getting to see the new bar Shooters and all of its ideas that they have to offer. This has been Brooke Ingram reporting for KNWT Channel 8 News. See you next week.
Everything that I got, yeah.
Thanks, Brooke. The Nottoway County Commission passed a declaration affecting professors here on campus. Colby Holtman has the story.
On September 3rd, the Nottoway County Commission passed a declaration stating teachers are now exempt from the standard quarantine guidelines as long as they stay asymptomatic. This decision was based off the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency's decision to add teachers and teachers' aides to the list of essential workers back in August of this year. I got the chance to interview students and teachers here on campus to get their opinions on this decision. Meet Patricia Warner. She teaches physical science and chemistry here at Northwest and believes that this is a good decision that will benefit students when it comes to their education.
I think exempting employees, or at least faculty, and a lot of the staff too, from the quarantine is a good thing, especially for the students, because that's going to keep the students in the classroom. And I really think the best learning is done in the classroom. I do understand the concerns. You know, the disease could spread further. I get that. Do extra precautions need to be taken? Yeah, I do believe extra precautions need to be taken, but it's what's going to keep the schools open. It's what's going to keep the students in the classroom and the schools functioning as normal as possible.
Students here on campus have stated similar views about this decision. In fact, Nate Germain, a sophomore here at Northwest, had this to say.
It seems like a good thing to me for the kids to have a good learning environment. Even though the teachers might be at risk for having COVID, if they don't have any symptoms or anything, I think it's better for the students to still have a good learning environment rather than them having to get on their computers just to lose the risk of maybe getting the coronavirus, even though they don't know that if they actually have it or not. So.
This has been Colby Holtman with Channel 8 News.
Thanks, Colby. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the events happening around the Northwest campus. Don't go away. Welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm your host, Courtney Rowe. According to the CDC director, COVID-19 vaccines will not be widely available until the second half of 2021. There is not yet a widely accepted coronavirus vaccine, and yet rich nations such as the US, Britain, and Japan have already purchased more than half of the expected supply. That's according to a report from Oxfam. The report claims countries that represent 13% of the world's population have acquired 51% of the future supply of coronavirus vaccines. The group analyzed data from published deals between governments and vaccine makers. Oxfam calculated 5 manufacturers have the combined production capacity to make nearly 6 million doses. That's enough to cover almost 3 million people, less than half the world's population, if everyone needs 2 doses, as seems likely. Experts estimate that if the COVID-19 shot is a 2-dose vaccine, the world would need about 15 billion doses. Friday, President Trump announced that there will be enough coronavirus vaccines for every American early next year. The president said he was confident that a vaccine would be approved, manufactured, and ready to be distributed for all by April.
We'll have manufactured at least 100 million vaccine doses before the end of the year, and likely much more than that. Hundreds of millions of doses will be available every month.
The University of Missouri has expelled 2 students and suspended 3 others for violating COVID-19 policies on campus. How does Northwest Missouri State University compare? Kirsten Stokes has the story.
The University of Missouri has expelled 2 students and has suspended 3 for willful and knowing actions that go against the university's policies for coronavirus. According to the reopening plan, students cannot have gatherings with more than 20 attendees, and if they test positive, they are to bring their positive results to the university within hours of their diagnosis. Now, how is this relevant to Northwest? Well, here's why. At Northwest, there have been 5 guidelines set in place to ensure the safety of the student, the faculty, and the visitors on campus. Those 5 guidelines include face coverings, hand washing, social distancing, evaluating your surroundings, and the overall taking care of your health. Now, if a student didn't want to comply to these 5 guidelines, the university has implemented in its supervisors to make sure that individual conversations are being made, so that way students know that disciplinary actions can take place if they don't want to adhere to those guidelines. The university wants people to know that not only will this keep the individual safe, but it will overall keep the campus safe, allowing us to have a full semester. I'm Kirsten Stokes, back to the studio.
Thanks, Kirsten. Northwest sports are not currently active due to COVID-19, but that doesn't mean there will be no homecoming activities. The homecoming parade will be taking place on campus, going a new route than in previous years. We will have more information as the event draws nearer. When we come back, we'll take a look at some more recent news and events, so don't go away. Welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Courtney Rowe. On Thursday, a Fight for Your Right to Vote teach-in series was held on campus. Craig McMullins has more.
Here in Fall Call at Northwest, the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences have been doing a teach-in series that explores topics of race in America.
On Thursday, September 17th, Matt Johnson, who is a history professor at Northwest, led a presentation in the university's new Occupy Volk series. The presentation was called Fight for Your Right to Vote. Throughout the presentation, Johnson talked about the history Americans had to face to gain the rights to vote they have today. At the end of the presentation, Johnson gave important dates on the registering to vote in Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa. A Northwest faculty member gave his thoughts on the presentation.
So, to me, I think what Mr. Johnson showed really well in his talk was just the evolution of not only his definitions of who has the right and the quality to vote, but also how it is this process. And I think that's part of what it means to fight for your right to vote, because the categories today that we sort of take as self-evident, or we should take as self-evident, that people, all people having the right to vote, haven't always been that way. And so fighting for the right to vote, and I think he showed numerous instances where people perceiving a wrong and then taking it upon themselves to fight for that right.
Johnson talked about the 15th Amendment that was passed that says a person shall not be denied the right to vote based on race.
This has been Craig Mullen reporting for Channel 8 News.
Thanks, Craig. Last Thursday, the Bearcat Marching Band and the Bearcat Steppers brought some normalcy back to campus with performances near the Centennial Gardens and the Administration Building. This was their first live performance of the season. third-party candidate liberalist Joe Jorgensen will be showing up at all ballots across the United States and Puerto Rico for the 2020 presidential election. Being a third-party candidate, mainstream media has not given her much coverage. The debates are set up between the red and blue parties, but many of her supporters are pushing to have a debate inclusion for third parties. Following Donald Trump and Joe Biden, she is the next most popular candidate for the 2020 presidential election. Now, McDonald's thinks you'll like their new spicy chicken McNuggets. So much so that Ronald and the gang have got you covered even if you don't. Anyone who buys a 6-pack of the new nuggets gets a second 6-pack free. That free pack can either be more spicy nuggets if you're pretty sure you'll dig them, or the traditional version if you want some insurance. That's why Mickey D's is calling this promotion Spice-surance. Spicy nuggets are breaded with a tempura coating infused with cayenne and chili peppers. Though there have been plenty of dipping sauces over the years, this is the first time the restaurant has flavored the nuggets themselves since they were introduced in 1983. Speaking of sauce, there's a new one of those too. The Mighty Hot Sauce has red pepper, spicy chilies, and garlic. Now for the fine print. The deal is only good on Wednesday, and you have to order through the McDonald's app. On Wednesday, September 23rd, SAC is hosting a free custom metal Northwest street signs from 12:30 to 3:30. Northwest people are invited to get a customized Northwest street sign. There is a very limited number of street signs available, so they will be on a first-come, first-served basis. The event will be located outside of the Student Union on the Bell Tower side. The rain location is the Student Union Living Room. And that's all the time we have for Channel 8 News. For stories that matter to you, catch Channel 8 News every Monday through Thursday at 6:15 p.m. right here on KNWT Channel 8. From all of us here at Channel 8 News, I'm Courtney Rowe, and have a great night.